So today we're going to be taking a look at the Marvel Legends Skrull Queen and Super Skrull action figures from Marvel Legends. Now, these are two characters that I'm actually not too familiar with. Of course, I do know what the Skrulls are from like the MCU movies, but I'm not, of course, familiar with these exact characters. But I had to get this pack, one, because it was only $18 on Amazon, so that's just awesome. And two, these are just some really cool figures. Of course, you're basically getting a Spider-Woman figure. If you want to swap out the head, there you go. And then you get this Super Skrull, which has parts from like a bunch of other heroes, like Black Bolt, Iron Man, and Doctor Strange. So they're just some awesome figures, and I just wanted to get them. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So, of course, on front, you see their names and some images of the figures. And then down here, of course, you have Avengers Beyond Earth's Mightiest. On the side over here, you get two images of the figures themselves. And on the back, you get a nice picture of Spider-Woman without the Skrull Queen head sculpt, and then the Super Skrull, but with his swappable arms, which, again, I found really cool. Then on this side, you get some nice comic art of, I guess, the actual storyline that these characters come from. And on the top, you get Avengers 60 Years of Earth's Mightiest. And then on the bottom, you have all your legal information. There's your barcode if you want to get this on Amazon. And of course, this is plastic-free packaging. So, without any further ado, without waiting anymore, let's get right into it and let's open this pack. So here are the figures right out of the packaging. And of course, they're just in their cardboard encasement this time. By now, of course, Hasbro has transitioned to moving back to plastic, so you could actually see the window with the figures. And I'm kind of in the middle on this type of packaging. I don't mind it, but you know, of course, you don't get the same feeling like when you open another figure. But a plus is they aren't held by twist ties, so it's easy to just take them out, and everything is wrapped in like a little surprise. So of course, this is just how everything looks. I just want to show you what it's going to look like if you get this set. And I'm going to go ahead and unwrap all this, and I'll show you the figures. Okay, so here's everything right out of the packaging, and I'm not going to lie, I kind of don't mind the plastic-free packaging. I know it's gone by now, but I like unwrapping them. Anyway, that's just me. These are some really cool figures, honestly. Like, they are really cool. There is a few problems that I'm already getting just taking them out of the packaging. And I'll just say it right now, it is that they are a little warped. I do think that is just because these are older figures, kind of. I mean, they released last year, but still, just expect that if you are going to get these, they may be a little warped. I'm pretty sure you could just fix that up with some heat, like hot water, or even just like a hairdryer. But other than that, they're just really cool. Like, especially when I took this guy out, oh my god, he just looks so awesome. But before going ahead and getting into them, let's go ahead and take a look at the accessories. We'll start with the Super Skrull, because he doesn't have that many. Of course, he gets his really long Mr. Fantastic looking arm. It's really cool, really nicely detailed. One thing, when you take this out, you want to make sure that you kind of position it right. When I had it, it almost looked as if they gave me like a or a right fist, so it just looked off. But just know it's just that in the packaging, it's going to be a little, you know, not in the right pose, but it's definitely cool. And just while I was articulating the arm, it does pop out easy, so it shouldn't be that bad putting them in and out. So that's awesome. And then this one is actually really cool, is you get the Iron Man kind of arm. But I really love kind of just the little subtle details and kind of how it's also a little bit metallic red. So it's really nice, and it really would shine if you use this on him. I'm probably not going to use the long arm, but I definitely think I'm going to use this. So really cool. But moving on to the Skrull Queen, or I'm just going to say Spider-Woman because that's what I got this figure for. But fine, Skrull Queen. The first accessory is the alternate head for, of course, the Skrull Queen. And it does look pretty cool, very nicely detailed. Me personally, I got this, like I said, as a Spider-Woman, so I'm not going to be using this, probably, but it's still pretty cool and a nice little option to have. And then next, you do get these two hands, which are actually really cool. And I'm a little disappointed that I don't really have anything to use these for because I don't know if I'm gonna display this like with these. So I don't know. I have to find a use for these because these are really nice and very nicely detailed. Like the translucent green is just so nice. But yeah, these are really cool. And then you get a bunch of web wing options. So, well, just two, but this one is if you want her to kind of have them more rested. So they're a bit difficult to see, but I'll show you on them on the figure in a second. And then you get these wide open ones. So really cool, nicely detailed. Definitely could do some fun things with that. And let's get right into the figures. Let's start with Spider-Woman so I can show you those accessories. Let's take a look. So, as I said before, these are a little warped. Him, not so much, but Spider-Woman is. Right in her leg, this foot is kind of bent, if you could see. It's kind of hard to see on camera, but she can't stand too... oh, all right, now she's going to stand. But you just kind of have to work with it. It's not that bad, but it is just a little disappointing because, you know, you want a fresh figure. But she still does look really cool, and her joints are also really tight. So another reason to heat her up. Just be careful. You don't want to break it. But let's go right into those web wings. You could see right in the arm, she has two little holes. So you could go ahead and just slide these in. Or actually, I think it's this one. I'll be right back and I'll put it on. Okay, so this is her with these kind of closed web wings. They do look pretty cool. They're a bit difficult to put on, but once they're on, they look pretty cool. I'll probably do something with this to display her with, but let's take a look at these larger ones. And here she is with the larger web wings, and like I predicted or thought, these definitely look a lot cooler. So really nice. I love how detailed they are and they serve their purpose. I do wish that they didn't make this figure have to have like holes in the arms. I'm pretty sure they changed that with like the recent Spider-Man figures, but me personally, like, what if I don't want to display it with that? I don't want those holes in the arms, but still though, it does look really cool. So I'm gonna take these out and then we'll look at the articulation. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at her articulation. So right at the head, it is a hinge, if you could kind of see under there on the neck. So her hair does block her from looking up, but she can look a little bit down. Yeah, not much at all. So, okay, so she can't really look up or down, very slightly, but of course she can move her head like that. So you're not going to get too much movement, but I mean, what else are you gonna do? It's kind of expected with the sculpted hair, but still, you know. So at the arms, they can go up to about a T-pose. It looks like that's the max. I would have liked a little bit more, especially for a Spider-Woman, or, you know, for a Spider-Man or Spider-Woman, you need that articulation. But still, it's pretty good, and with the web wings, that is the most you're gonna need. I would have liked more, but it is what it is. Of course, you do get some movement at the shoulder or the bicep swivel. Then, of course, at the elbow, it does go about 90. A little bit more, but that's pretty good. Same on the other side. And then, of course, you do get rotation at the wrist. Then at the upper torso, you do get a swivel. She can go all the way around. That is basically how you could get some movement for her to look up. Oh, wow, that actually does help a lot. She could look decently up, so that's pretty good. I'll give it to you, Hasbro. That's pretty good. And then, of course, if you kind of just want her punching, you could do that. So that's kind of cool. Then she doesn't have anything at the waist, but at the thigh, she can kick up about that much, which is pretty good, 90. And then she can kick out not as much. So about that much is about how much you're gonna get for her to kick out. So not a lot. I would have liked a little more out, but this is pretty good for straight out. Then of course you do get movement right here at the cut. So That's pretty good. And then for the knees, they are double hinged, so that's amazing. You get a bunch of movement there. Of course, this is actually you could see the pins on this figure. It's not pinless, so just for anyone who that bothers. And then, of course, at the ankle, you do get a hinge there. So the articulation isn't the greatest, but it actually is decent, I'd say. Like, of course, it's not like a Revoltech figure or a amazing Yamaguchi figure. It's not like that, but you're gonna get some pretty good articulation, and it's pretty good for like Marvel Legends. Like, there's some other figures that I have that cannot move at all. So, and especially for this being a Spider character, Spider Woman, I'm perfectly fine with that. So let's go ahead. I'll take a look at the Super Skrull, and let's see if he's better or worse. So here is the Super Skrull, and as soon as I took him out, like I said, he just looks really cool. He has like a very nice kind of menacing presence, which I love. But yeah, so detail-wise, he looks great. He is, like with Spider-Woman, a little bit warped in this leg. It is a little loose, and it does kind of move a little bit, but with some heat, that should fix itself. And he isn't as bad as Spider-Woman. Like, it looks like, you know, he could just be fine. So this cape, I'm gonna call it Doctor Strange's cloak, because that's what it looks like, and I'm pretty sure that is what it is. But it does just come right off. It does have a little peg in there that can plug into the back right there. Sorry, right there. So it is removable, and this isn't pretty noticeable like the peg hole, so that's pretty good. So I'm gonna move this to the side for right now, and let's just take a look at him. So I love that he has the Black Bolt kind of look to him. It just makes him look so much cooler. And now I need a Black Bolt figure to have them fighting, because that's just going to be awesome. But yeah, so let's take a look at the articulation. He is on a hinge, but it is actually kind of like a ball as well in there, if you could kind of see. So he does get some more movement than Spider-Woman, of course, because he doesn't have sculpted hair. So he can look up about that much. And wow, he could actually look down a whole lot. So that's amazing. Amazing look down. Could he actually go further up? Wow, look, he could go further up. That's awesome. I'm going to do a lot of fun like posing videos with this guy because he's really cool. But moving on to the arms, they can go up about this much. So about a straight 90 like Spider-Woman. So same thing on the other side. You do hear that clicking, right? So you want to be careful with that. Always scares me. But you do get some movement at the bicep right there. And then at the elbow joint, that is pretty tight. It's way more than 90. He does have the double hinged elbows. Yeah, so that's about the most. A little bit more than 90, he could do that. And then of course at the wrist, you have a hinge, so it goes in and out. And then, so unlike Spider-Woman, he doesn't have an upper torso swivel, but he does have a hinge right here by the abs, like a ab crunch. Oh, that is scary, those snaps. But he can bend over about that much, and then back about that much. So pretty good upper articulation. You could definitely get some really cool poses with this guy. Then he even has a waist swivel, so yeah, you could get a lot out of him. Let's see how the legs are. Moving on to the legs, let's see. I'm a little scared. Spider-Woman didn't have that much. So he could kick out a straight 90, so that's pretty good. And out looks a little bit more than Spider-Woman, I'd say. Definitely not crazy good, but pretty good. At the knees, he can go definitely more than 90, so that's great. And again, they are not pinless, so you know, that's sad. And then at the ankle, it does have the hinge to go down. And, of course, up. So, better articulation than Spider-Woman. Definitely the upper articulation is absolutely amazing for, like, the upper torso and the arms. It's great. It's, of course, you know, like I said, with Spider-Woman, not on levels of, like, an amazing Yamaguchi figure, but it's good for what it is, and you could get some great poses with this guy. So really cool. He has a really nice, like I said, kind of demeanor. He looks really awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and show you his swap out arms, and we'll see how those look. Okay, so here he is with his swap out arms, and they are really cool. Taking out the other arms isn't actually too difficult, but you do want to be careful because when you pull it out, you want to grab by the actual kind of shoulder part. You don't want to grab by the bicep because it might pull out of the shoulder and then it might snap and then you can't put it back together. So when you're taking it out, just make sure you grab here and not here. But looking at these other arms, they are really cool. I'm still on the same place I was in the beginning of the video where I said I'm just going to use this arm with the Iron Man. I don't think I'm going to be using this Mr. Fantastic looking arm because even though it's cool, I don't know. It's, you know, it's a little too out there for me, but still looks cool. And the arms do have the same articulation as the other arms. They can go up even more, looks like. A little bit more than T-pose. And then, of course, you do have your movement at the biceps. And then at the elbow, it is double hinged. So he can go about that much. And then the Iron Man fist does have a little hinge in there. It's a little tight. But there we go. So really cool with that arm. And then this one also has the double hinge. So way more than 90. And then, of course, the fist does open and close with that hinge. So I like the swappable arms. I'm going to use this one, not this one, but it's still really cool. And hey, it's an awesome figure. This is just such a cool figure. Like, I saw some reviews of this and there were people that were like kind of like upset with these figures. I don't know. I love them. So they're really cool. Let's move on to some comparisons and let's see how they look. So here is the Super Skrull and the Skrull Queen with the Last Ronin Battle Damaged Ronin, the Marvel Legends Miles Morales, the Star Wars The Black Series Grogu, the Jakks Pacific Shadow the Hedgehog, and the Star Wars The Black Series Stormtrooper. Of course, I wanted to show you some other lines, but I also had to bring out some of the green guys. Had to bring out the green Ronin, and I had to bring out Grogu. But yeah, they look cool, they scale well, and again, with the Super Skrull, he just looks so cool because he's like so big. And like this figure, the Battle Damage Last Ronin, is probably one of my bigger figures. My biggest would be the Alien, but of course not. He's huge, but this guy is definitely like the second or third biggest figure, and the Super Skrull is like huge. So really happy with that, and they look really cool. Of course, with another Marvel Legends figure, they go perfect, and yeah, they look great. So let's go ahead and let's move on to my final thoughts. So what do I think about the Marvel Legends Skrull Queen and Super Skrull 2-pack? Go and get this. Go and get this right now. It's a really cool pack, and especially right now at the price of only like $18 on Amazon, this is definitely worth it. It's almost like $9 per figure, and it's just awesome. Now, I understand why some people would say this isn't worth it when it initially released. When it first came out, I do believe it was like around $40 to $50. And at that point, I could understand why, because these figures don't have the best articulation. And of course, with some of the warping that my copy came with, I could understand why not everybody would jump for these figures. But at this price, I definitely feel like it is worth it. They definitely come with a lot of stuff. And just to have them on the shelf or just to pose them around, they are definitely just awesome. So I really think that they're worth it for you. I think they're worth it at this cheaper price. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you have this pack, what you think about it, and I'll see you next time.